As the U.S. is fighting against the Indian populations of the Great Plains, you're going to see the taking off of the Texas cattle industry. When it comes to cattle, Texas is basically heaven. They say happy cows come from California, right? No, they don't. When cows dream at night when they're sleeping, they're dreaming of Texas, not dreaming of California. Guarantee it. The cattle industry begins in Texas after the Civil War. And basically what happens is you have in southern Texas, around the Rio Grande Valley, in between the Rio Grande and the Nueces River, that little triangle there, that's going to be cattle, cow heaven, right? It's well watered. It's got lots of grass. It's got a good climate. There are few hostile Indians, so it allows American ranchers to go and just let cows be cows, and they just go out and they just eat as much as they want, rather than being penned. Now, the late 1860s sees the start of the cattle drives, right? Mainly because of the fact that cattle cost anywhere between $3 and $4 a head in Texas. However, you bring them up to a northern market, you're going to see cattle being worth as much as $30 to $40 a head, right? So the thing is that the cows need to be moved. They need to be moved from South Texas all the way to these northern markets. Well, that's easier said than done. For example, we take railroads for granted. There are no, look at a map. Google search. There's some great maps. Google search, U.S. railroads, 1860, 1870, and 1880. U.S. railroad map. Look at in those 3 years, and you can see there's not that many railroads, particularly in Texas. It's pathetic how few railroads are here in the state of Texas during that time period. So what are you going to do? Well, you got to bring these cows out to market. So what are you going to do? You're going to push them north. You're going to push them north to the closest railway junction to get you into northern cities, and that's pretty much in Kansas, Abilene, Kansas, right? So you're going to have numerous trails. Some of them are very famous: the Chisholm Trail, the Western Trail, the Goodnight Loving Trail. All of these trails are going to basically start pushing. The ranchers are going to start pushing cattle north and as fast as they can to railroad stations so they can be sent to market up in the north. The life, and so of course this begins the life of the cowboy. And we think of cowboys, we think of, the Marlboro Man, John Wayne, it's been romanticized a lot. And the truth is, it's really, it's a hard and tedious life. For example, a typical cowboy or trail hand on these trails are going to make about $1 a day. And they usually start the drives in the early spring to take advantage of good grass and good weather. And these drives are going to typically last anywhere between 6 and 12 weeks. An average herd, 2,500 head, and they can make about 15 miles on a good day. Now, on a drive, there will be 2 people in the front, mainly the most experienced cowboys, with 4 people on the sides, and then, of course, the 3 dragmen, the most inexperienced cowboys, will be behind them. And, of course, you don't want to be behind a herd of 2,500 cattle. Well, because cows do what cows do, and you certainly don't want to be running. You don't want to be riding behind them. But hey, at least you get the consolation of the fact that you're going to be next to the chuck wagon the entire time. But nevertheless, trouble can come along the way, and it can come from things as Indians, gangs of white wrestlers, storms, droughts, heat, stampedes, fire, and whatnot. But nevertheless, by 1876, you start to see the arrival of the railroads in Texas, particularly in northern Texas. And so in 1876, a railroad is going to be completed in Dallas, and by the time we get to 1880, there's fewer and fewer cattle drives. All right, and so basically what it does is it's going to start, the railroad is going to contribute to the fall of the cattle kingdom. After all of these ranchers they're enjoying the good times, right? When you have good times, when you have money in your wallet, what are you going to do with it? You're going to spend it, and you're going and so all of these ranchers and whatnot, they're going to take advantage of the demand. How? Just by, let's just breed the heck out of these cattle and get as many cattle on the road to northern markets. And so it's fine to do that as long as you don't oversaturate the market. The arrival of the railroad, particularly in the Dallas Metroplex area, is going to basically help saturate the market, because no longer are you going to have limited amount of cattle moving up to the nearest railroad junction in Abilene. Now the trip is shorter, and now you can put more and more and more cattle because their trip is absolutely shorter. They're just going to be a stockpiling of it, right? And basically what happens, it starts to flood the market. And when you flood the market, prices go down, and the cattle kingdom of Texas is going to come to a screeching halt. Now, does cattle ranching go away? Absolutely not. Here in Texas, we have ranches that are bigger than states almost. But nevertheless, we are going to, the cattle kingdom is basically a victim of its own success. Times are good, so people start, they're going to try to satisfy the demand by breeding as many cattle as they can, and then start sending as much cattle as they can into the market. The result, of course, is going to be that it's going to collapse the demand, and when demand goes down, so does the price. Thus, the fall of the cattle kingdom.